James Mogenure is an artist living and working in Greenland. By day, he puts his artistic skills to work for clients.
By day, I'm a creative director at a market research firm, Tidewatch Market Research, which is right here in Greenland.
By night, James is inking monsters and mayhem, all for a good cause.
I've always just sort of liked doodling monsters. I guess there's sort of a dark sense of humor side of me. So one day, we were a couple of weeks into a stay at home, and I just drew a picture of my house, and I thought, well, it needs more, so I drew this big monster standing behind it. And when I posted that, I got a surprising amount of positive response from people.
People liked it so much, James began to monster other people's homes and asked for only one thing in return for his original artwork.
I wanted people to donate to food kitchens or pantries or other help organizations to make just to help out the people who aren't as fortunate as I have been. They go pretty fast. I can finish them in a couple of days. It's my account's called Ink in the Margins because it's the artwork I do in the margins of my time. So it's nights and weekends. So it's fun at the end of the day once the kids are finally in bed to sit down for a couple hours and sketch or to ink and color.
An artist since a young age, he has always been a cartoonist at heart and toes the line between macabre and whimsical in his Monster My House pieces.
In some ways, drawing these monsters and these, sort of apocalyptic visions is kind of a stress reliever. My favorite critic is my wife. I know that I've done a good job when I show her a finished piece and she sort of recoils in horror.
So why are people all over the globe so eager to have their homes invaded by larger-than-life creatures?
So many people are just hungry for lightheartedness. And I think even though these are like monsters and their houses are being destroyed, they're still very funny to look at and to think about. One person particularly asked that I include one of their children in it, and that was a lot of fun. But you can see it's their house, and there's all these strange floating eyeballs, and their daughter's sort of running towards the camera with tears in her eyes, which is, sort of a scary thing, but it's also kind of funny.
When asked whether he's worried he'll run out of monster inspiration, James isn't scared.
I look forward to the day when I don't know what to draw, because that's when the real creativity will come out.
Is what I do, and this is where my magic lies. So, what I want to do is bring radical joy through soul-fueled art. And this is how I do it, is by painting, not by letting the situation get the best of me. It just feels full of hope and joy, and we need a little bit of that right now.
Pamela Bates is stepping out from behind her easel in her solitary studio and turning on Zoom to connect and create with artists from around the world.
So we had an art party, and everybody came and just brought whatever they were working on. I think there is so much beauty in collaborating with other people. It's just my jam. I connect with other artists, and really it all just kind of evolves naturally. Like nothing has ever felt forced.
Pam worked in a career for years that put her in front of a computer screen for hours on end. After a trip to the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum, a light switch was flipped, and so was her career path. Her paintbrush stepping in to replace the keyboard.
I call myself a soul-fueled artist. I lean towards abstract expressionism, marks, colors, layers, washes, an expressive, intuitive painter. I usually don't know what I'm going to paint when I step up to the easel. I'm a chronicler. What am I seeing? I'm seeing looking out my studio, I'm seeing the leaves, I'm seeing the branches crisscross. I'm smelling the salt air at the beach, the small moments that make life beautiful, and all of that comes out in my work. It's a lifetime that's coming out. I got a lot to say now.
Pam is excited to share that energy with people from around the globe in her virtual art classes, art parties, sketchbook sessions, and other creative virtual collaborations.
We're flying by the seat of our pants. And that's what I said to my class today. Like, the camera angle may not be perfect, but I'm going to point the computer down. And one time I did one of my free classes with my phone, and it was above what I was working on, but it ended up coming across sideways no matter what way I turned my phone, and nobody cared. They're all happy. They go away. Then they post on Instagram, and we see what was created in class, and it's rewarding. It's really a beautiful process, and I subscribe to my belief is that you find your style, your voice as a painter by painting. We don't know what's going to happen, and there's been so much loss that I think it's important for us to also find the beauty.